This question, we're given y equals 1 over 1 minus 3x to the power 5, asked to differentiate it, find dy by dx. So let's look at a simpler example. Suppose it was an easier case where it was 1 over plane x to the power 5. How on earth would we do that? Well, would we not move the x to the 5 to the top of the fraction using the laws of indices and make that a negative 5? And then we would look at that and say, well, we have a rule for differentiating, bring the power down to the front, take 1 away from the power, and we'd be left with negative 5, and then bring that back down to make it a positive 6. There would be the case where it was a simple 1 over x to the power 5. But in this case, we've got 1 over, and then we have something pretending to be an x. So we would do the same. We would bring that up. We'll try and do everything as much the same as we possibly can. And then we'll differentiate that. But there's a problem, because if we work out the normal rule, then it won't work, because this isn't an x. It's something pretending to be an x, and we have to then go and differentiate what was in here, differentiate to adjust the answer. And that's the chain rule. So whatever was in here, and we look at this and we say, well, that's a 1 minus 3x that's pretending to be an x, if you like, masquerading as an x. And what do we get when we differentiate that? If we differentiate 1, we get 0. If we differentiate minus 3x, we get negative 3. So the adjustment is multiplying by negative 3. So that's how we go about differentiating this. Y equals 1 over something to the power 5. So we write that something without a fraction to the power negative 5. 1 over this to the 5 becomes that to the negative 5. And remember, it's a 1 minus 3x that's inside this bracket. So we go ahead, we do our normal power rule. The power goes to the front, then we take 1 away from the power. But there's an adjustment, because that is not plain forward x we're dealing with. We have to differentiate 1 minus 3x. In other words, what's the gradient of 1 minus 3x? If we had a y equals 1 minus 3x, it's a gradient of negative 3. That's another way of looking at it. But anyway, the 1 disappears, and negative 3x, when we differentiate it, we get negative 3. So there's the adjustment using the chain rule. This needs tidied up. On the top of the fraction, we have that negative 5 and that negative 3. And down in the bottom of the fraction goes the 1 minus 3x, and its power, instead of being negative 6, becomes positive 6. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. So final answer, 15 over 1 minus 3x to the power 6. And we've successfully used the chain rule to do that differentiation. That's Mr. Corsi signing out. Hope you enjoyed the video.